you're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day. Or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help.
The FHN network is sponsored in part by Hoddle Services. If you're looking for a disc jockey, karaoke host, video jockey to videographer, our company can help. With over 20 years of experience, we would be happy to help with your special event within Ontario, Canada. You can contact us at 226-988-2895 or visit us at our website at hoddleservices.vpweb.ca. That's HODDLE Services. We look forward to hearing from you and helping with your special event.
Yes, that's right. It's Lock It Up Sports Talk. Find us on the network and on ASTV. My name is Logan Lockhart. We do this every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. August 31st. Summer is winding down, which means a few things. Number one, NFL football back next week, Thursday, and the first game is Cowboys and Tom Brady's Buccaneers. So they really are playing up that first primetime game. That's quite a matchup. That is how the season starts. And of course, it's always on a Thursday. And then on Sunday, really, you get the official NFL kickoff. But that's next week. And, you know, baseball's kind of heating up with the playoff races. And we'll get to some Blue Jay stuff down the road here later today. But I want to go to the National Hockey League, where maybe the story of the offseason. In an offseason that became a little bit dragging on, a little bit boring, but here we go. We got an offer sheet, which rarely happens nowadays. And the thing about the offer sheet is that they rarely happen because, number one, you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, the other team. You don't want to offer sheet a team, put them in a bad situation, even though you probably want to. It would help your team. But you don't want to ruin any relationships, and, you know, it's one of those things. But can you imagine if offer sheets happen more often in the NHL? Things would be so much more interesting during the offseason, especially now when we're in late August. Really nothing's going on. I know a lot of people are craving hockey. They just want it to come back already. But offer sheets make everything interesting. And we have one, Montreal, Carolina. And the last time there was an offer sheet, it was also Montreal and Carolina. So this was a revenge offer sheet, I guess you can say it was. Jesperi Kotkaniemi of the Montreal Canadiens gets offer sheeted by the Carolina Hurricanes. It's a one-year deal, $6.1 million for that deal. Montreal, they have until September 4th to match this offer. And if they do, well, Kotkaniemi will remain a Montreal Canadian at a very expensive price, at $6.1 million. He's not really worth that. But of course, Carolina is willing to overpay and see if Montreal is willing to match it. But Carolina, this is the thing. They had Sebastian Aho 2 years ago, and they still do. But Montreal offer sheeted him in 2019. 2 years ago, it was a 5-year deal worth $42 million. And it was a shock at the time, 2 years ago. And Carolina matched that. Aho remained with the Hurricanes. And Montreal at the time, nothing more than a footnote in the history of NHL offer sheets. But now, on Saturday, payback. And Carolina went to Montreal and said, well, we're going to do the same thing that you did to us 2 years ago. So that's my point with why maybe offer sheets should happen more often. They're interesting. There's drama involved here, which is something we rarely see in NHL off seasons. We see some Jack Eichel drama, but when it comes to drama like this, I mean, this is a full-blown rivalry now between the front offices, Carolina and Montreal. So I think that these should happen more often. Now, the question is, because everyone got all their laughs and revenge and drama out of the way over the weekend, it was anything but serious when this happened. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, now the question is, because now it's serious, is Montreal going to match this? And do they believe that Kotkaniemi is worth that $6 million for this year, or do they want the picks compensation? Because if they don't match, they get a first round and a third round pick from the Hurricanes. And that might be pretty enticing for Marc Bergevin and the Habs. So you got to look at it from that perspective as well. Now, Montreal, they were in a position where they left Carey Price unprotected in the expansion draft. So that, number one, was interesting, how they really wanted that cap space. They love Carey Price, love to keep him. It's fine that Seattle didn't take him. But the point is that they were willing to do that. They left him unprotected. Shea Weber, done for the year. His cap won't be on the books either. So Montreal's in a position where I don't know if they really want to give out a $6 million contract to Kotkaniemi. He's not worth that at all. He hasn't been worth it. He might be worth that down the road. Definitely not right now. And this is a team that just won the Stanley Cup final. So you got to weigh the options here. Now, with Carolina, I think Carolina doesn't care about the money. At this point, it's a one-year deal. And here's the kicker. And here's where all the laughs and all the jokes came in this weekend after this offer sheet. The signing bonus on this offer sheet was $20. $20. Okay, not $20,000. Okay, not $200,000. $20. And it's because Sebastian Aho, the guy who got offer sheeted 2 years ago, wears number 20. So that was all part of this revenge plot. And you know what? I didn't think it was revenge. I thought it was this whole big conspiracy. I don't know at first, but once I saw the $20 signing bonus, yeah, this was a manufactured revenge ploy by the Carolina Hurricanes, and they want to get back to the Montreal Canadiens. If you on Twitter, if you see what the Hurricanes Twitter account has done too, they've had a lot of fun with it. They're tweeting in French. They announced the offer sheet in French. Their bio on Twitter is in French. I believe it is as we speak. So they're having fun with it, and everyone's getting a good laugh out of it. And I don't know if Montreal Canadiens fans are getting a laugh out of it. I'm not sure. But I do know that at least the rest of the hockey world is definitely getting a laugh out of this. I mean, this is something else. And I think that we need more of these. Now, the thing about offer sheets is that, of course, you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings and put anyone in a bad position. But at the end of the day, I think this makes a lot of sense for Carolina. I think Carolina is a really good team. I'm putting them in the top 6 or 7 teams in the league, maybe higher than that. And I think they have every right to go for it. And especially the fact that Montreal did it to them 2 years ago. Why not go after them? So I like this from Carolina's perspective. I think there's a real possibility Montreal does not match this. Marc Bergevin has kind of been a wild card all off season long. And we just don't know what he's thinking. You know, rational thinking would lead you to think he's just going to match it and bite the bullet in terms of the contract. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure with Bergevin. He is a wild card. And I think there's a real possibility that Montreal does not match this offer. So something to keep an eye on in preparation for September 4th. They have until then. They could any day now not match it, match it. It's up to them. So it's really hard to believe, actually, that Montreal was in the Stanley Cup final because, they've been really kind of the story of the offseason from a number of perspectives. And it's hard to believe that this team was really, a couple more games, 3 more games, and it looks like, maybe they had a shot at winning a Stanley Cup It's hard to believe. And it wasn't even that long ago. It was a couple months ago. But still. So that's the story there. And offer sheets are a lot of fun. I know Brian Burke hates them. Remember when he was in Anaheim and the Oilers offer sheet, and he wanted to fight Kevin Lowe. It got so bad. That was one of the great feuds in the front office ever. I thought they were going to fight. And then obviously when he was GM of the Leafs, Phil Kessel was a restricted free agent when the Leafs acquired him. The Leafs could have offer sheeted Kessel. But instead, Burke, he was such against offer sheets that he just opted to go the trade route and make the trade instead of doing an offer sheet. So he's not a fan of them at all, which is why I think a lot of GMs and a lot of executives, they're just not interested in dealing with it because it is a lot of noise. It's a lot of drama. This is the story now in the NHL. So here you go. It's back to Carolina, Montreal. They're the two ones involved in this offer sheet game, just like they were 2 years ago. Now, Major League Baseball. So, the Jays are getting great pitching lately. And they're still 5.5 back. It might be 4.5 now. But the point is that they're not 1 or 2 games back. They got some ground to make up here. They've been getting great pitching. The offense has gone silent, other than last night. But they really are missing in action. And the thing about this Jays team is that they're really not scoring early. Like last night, they kind of got their runs later in the game. But there was a time in the 6th inning, it was a 2-1 game for Baltimore, who's the worst team in baseball. So this offense is really concerning. And I think that if you're looking at a playoff position, if you're still optimistic about the Jays making the playoffs, and I'm not at all, I think there's too many teams to jump. I think that there are still issues with this team. I don't trust the bullpen at all. I don't know who would. They may be pitching well and better lately, but if you trust this bullpen, I think you need a reality check. You haven't been watching all year. The offense is probably going to come around. And this is the only hope for the Jays. And I think that this is a legit point to make. And I think that other teams in the league might be a little concerned about this. This is legit. The Jays offense might be the best in the AL on paper. They really might be. And they've been cold lately. And they can turn that around, snap of fingers, just like that. And here we go. We're going into September tomorrow. They're going to finish this series against the Orioles that they should sweep. Absolutely. This offense could click, and the Jays might go on a crazy run. They just might. And I think that a lot of teams know that. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., since the All-Star break, has not played like an MVP, especially at the plate. But that's got to turn around because we know how good he is. So you can make the legitimate argument that Guerrero's going to be an MVP guy in September. Springer is now back healthy, played his first game yesterday. And you see what difference he makes in the lineup right away. There are points you can make in favor of the Blue Jays making a serious push. With that said, though, there are a lot of teams to jump. And right now we're looking like it's destined to be a Yankees-Red Sox wildcard game. Because if you're the Blue Jays, I think you're throwing the division out the window here. There's no way about it. This is about the wild card. And you got to jump Oakland. You got to jump Seattle. And then you got to deal with Boston, who they don't play at all for the rest of the year. They do have a series of the Yankees. That might be important down the road. But, the point is that the Jays' schedule is relatively easy in September. You got a lot against Baltimore. And, of course, you're going to see Oakland very soon, which is very important. And you got to win that series. So there are opportunities for Toronto to jump some teams, to kind of get more in the push. And if you're an optimist, you're going to think that this offense is going to click right away with Springer now back in the lineup, and they're going to make a serious push. So it's definitely not over. I'm not as optimistic, but there are definitely legitimate points to point in favor of the Toronto Blue Jays. There's no doubt about it. If you look around Major League Baseball again, you see the Dodgers really making waves in the NL West. which means that the Giants might be pushed to a wild card game, and the Padres have really been struggling. They're not playing well at all. Now the Cincinnati Reds find themselves in a wild card position. So there's a lot going on. The best pennant races, you would say right now, are in the AL, and it is with what's going on in the wild card. And of course, when you got Yankees, Red Sox in a potential wild card game, well, that speaks for itself. And you're kind of looking at a scenario where, well, the Red Sox have never played in a wild card game before, the Yankees have. We'll see how that plays out. But if you're optimistic about the Blue Jays, you have every reason to be. There are still reasons to be optimistic about this club. I may not be as optimistic, but the offense has to click, and it has to click in a hurry, and you have to sweep the Orioles. You can't give Baltimore a game here. If that happens, again, it's just another missed opportunity, and there's been so many for this Blue Jays team, a laundry list of missed opportunities. It has to end here. And the good news is a new month starts tomorrow. You got a game today, and you start fresh tomorrow, and you see if you can put some wins together and get the bats going, because they really were missing in action, and this was not a good month. August was a month to forget for the Toronto Blue Jays. That is all for this week's edition of Lock It Up Sports Talk. My name is Logan Lockhart. Next week, football, the NFL, a whole preview. And by next week, we'll be 2 days away from Cowboys, Bucks in Tampa, season opener, the kickoff, the NFL kickoff game, one of the great games of the year and most watched games of the year. We'll be 2 days away from that next week on Lock It Up, and a whole preview show. Can't wait. Like I said, when you see September on the calendar, for me, I think NFL. And we're going to cover it all on the Fine Settle Network and ASTV with Lock It Up Sports Talk. Until next week, Logan Lockhart, here I am, signing off.
Make sure to check out our past shows from previous weeks on our YouTube, Facebook, or Mixcloud channels. You can always catch up on podcasts while checking out our FHN Network channel on YouTube or Facebook. Or you can listen to an audio copy of our past shows on our Mixcloud channel at FHN_network. The FHN Network, the future of entertainment.